For the final time in the regular season, hello and welcome into Pregame Tomahawk Talk. The Bourne Braves take on the Cotuit Kettleers here in game 40 of 40. I'm Adam Gockin alongside Sean Brennan. And Sean, last night, the longest day of the regular season, the only doubleheader of the regular season, and a split one at that. Game 1 in Orleans, game 2 in Bourne, but they both had the same result.
They did, and it was a Braves win, but the way that the Bravos won those two games was very different. Looking at game 1, it was pitching that dominated throughout the whole thing. Jonathan Stevens has his first start on the Cape and was just lights out, didn't allow an earned run, and that momentum carried over when Griffin Hugas comes in. He closes out the game, really doesn't give any daylight to that Orleans lineup, and just an overall solid performance. The offense got going a little bit later, added some insurance in that 7th inning, and cruised to a 4-0 victory, and then they head back to Bourne, and it's much different. Bourne puts up 7 runs in the first 3 innings, something that they've done throughout this 7-game unbeaten streak, get on top of teams early. And, you know, Orleans, you got to credit them. They did make it close. They did come back. Zach Crotchfeld ran into some trouble at the end of the game, but was able to close it out. So it's very encouraging to see kind of the different ways that Bourne can win games, you know, dominating on both sides of the ball, and that's expected. You know, a doubleheader, it's out of the ordinary. These guys are used to doing that at school sometimes, but it's not really something that you see too much on the Cape or in summer ball.
And with this being the last game of the season and so many pitchers having to throw yesterday for Bourne and Cotuit, who also had a split doubleheader, we've got a pretty interesting pitching matchup today.
Yeah, for Bourne, it's Kyle LaColometto out of Houston. He only had 1 appearance on the Cape so far. It was a couple days ago against Wareham. It was a clean inning for him. He walked 1, struck out 1, but didn't allow a run. And then on the other side, it's Aiden Hunter out of Charleston. He struggled a little bit this year, above a 6 ERA through about 13 innings. He did pitch against Bourne before in that darkness-shortened game, if you remember, way back on July 6th. He went 2 innings, pretty solid, only allowed that solo shot to Camden Kojal, so it's going to look to be a tune-up for Hunter before he's possibly going to have his name called in the postseason. Yeah,
that should be interesting. Also, something interesting is this Cotuit team and how recently it has really kind of just fallen off. One of the best teams in the entire league at the first half, but especially over the past couple weeks, a lot of struggles.
Yeah, it seemed like at certain points they just were never going to slow down, but they did a little bit. Ever since Bourne came here to Lowell Park and picked up a big win about a week ago, they went 2-6, the stretch that included a 5-game losing streak. And when you look at the stats, it isn't super clear that things are going wrong. Sure, the lineup took a little bit of a step back. Pitching was solid, but that's kind of the concern for head coach Mike Roberts. He said a couple days ago that he is very concerned with his staff, not because of the talent, but just because of the cohesion and all the guys coming in. Cotuit's gone through 41 pitchers this season, and heading into the postseason, that makes it tough on catchers, you know, having a bunch of new guys throwing. So, you know, with 1 game left, there isn't a ton riding on this game for Cotuit. They have the 2 seed locked up, but I think Mike Roberts would beg to differ because this is another chance for his whole team to kind of build that chemistry heading into what they hope is a postseason run.
And for Bourne, they already have a postseason spot locked up. Still trying to figure out seeding. They need to win and some help to move up to the 3 spot, but either way, on the road in the playoffs. So this is not necessarily the biggest game, and with the doubleheader yesterday, the Bravos will be resting some of the stars.
Oh yeah, and that doubleheader, you know, took a lot out of them. And over the past couple games, Scott Landers has been using a lot of guys in his lineup, trying to get guys ABs before the postseason, and it does say a lot about the depth this team has because there's been a lot of guys performing, but you want to have them rested up heading into that postseason. A lot of regulars are out of the lineup today, and like we said, that doubleheader, you know, you have to use a lot of guys. So there is, you know, they are playing for something. Bourne is, you know, trying to maybe get a little bit higher seeding, but, you know, either way, they're going to be on the road. So really a chance to rest some guys heading into the playoffs.
Well, it should be an interesting one here from Lowell Park. First pitch coming up at 4:30. We'll see you then.